You know those games where you look at them and think, this again? Yeah, my man, today, we're diving into the most overdone genres in the market, the ones nobody can stand anymore. Whether it's live service games, open-world grinds, or hero shooters, it's all starting to feel like déjà vu. Let's talk about it and see if you agree. Hey there, welcome to Games Insights. Every year it's the same story. It's like studios get stuck in a creative bubble and just pump out more of the same, and of course, people get tired of it. Hey there, welcome to Games Insights. Every year it's the same story. It's like studios get stuck in a creative bubble and just pump out more of the same, and of course, people get tired of it. The games flop, and sometimes entire studios shut down. But before we throw shade at the devs, let's be real. The issue isn't the genres themselves, it's that everyone tries to copy-paste without bringing anything fresh to the table. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel and smash that like button, because we're about to dig into these oversaturated genres and call out where the biggest fails are happening. Games as a service. Games as a service started as a way to keep players hooked for the long haul, offering regular updates, events, and of course, endless monetization options. It's a model that works great for games like Fortnite, free to play, fun, and always evolving. But what happens when this formula is forced onto games that don't fit the mold? A prime example is Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. This game had insane potential. Think about it. Iconic DC characters, promising gameplay and top-tier graphics, but then they shoved in microtransactions and repetitive infinite game mechanics. The result? A massive flop, with Warner Bros. Losing over $200 million. And it doesn't stop there. Remember Crash Team Rumble? Who thought a generic multiplayer spin-off with Crash Bandicoot was a good idea? Instead of going for something like Crash Bash, you know, the Mario Party of Crash, they went with a service game packed with stale mechanics. The game was forgotten in under a week, you know? Even industry giants like Ubisoft have stumbled. Take Skull and Bones, for example. It was hyped as a revolutionary pirate game, but instead, it became just another identityless service game, filled with outdated mechanics and a release nobody cared about. Here's the deal: when done right, the model works. But when studios try to force this approach onto games that were never designed for it, the results are a disaster. The problem? Too many games are made with the sole purpose of making money, sidelining fun and innovation in the process. Hero shooters. Hero shooters had their golden era. Back in 2016, Overwatch came out swinging with its fresh take, unique characters, intriguing lore, and addictive gameplay. But as time went on, what happened? Everybody and their dog started copying the formula. Even Overwatch itself couldn't escape the burnout. Overwatch 2 dropped with tons of promises but delivered nothing truly new. Blizzard tried to keep the hype alive with updates and events, but players quickly caught on. It was just more of the same, with a heavier emphasis on monetization than actual improvements. And then there's Conquered from Sony, the ultimate example of a hero shooter disaster. After 8 years in development and a jaw-dropping $400 million investment, the game launched and the audience completely ignored it. In just 10 days, the servers were shut down. Yep, 10 days. That's one of the biggest flops in gaming history. Why is this happening? Because so many of these games bring nothing new to the table. Take the upcoming Marvel's Rivals, for instance. Sure, playing as Marvel heroes and villains sounds cool, and it'll probably sell well, but judging by what we've seen, it doesn't seem to innovate in any meaningful way. Will it be popular? Maybe will it last? That's the real question. Unless the genre starts pushing boundaries, it'll stay stuck in a rut. Players want something different, not the same old thing in a shiny new wrapper. Generic open worlds. Open worlds were once the holy grail of video games. Titles like Red Dead Redemption 2, Breath of the Wild, and Elden Ring proved that when done right, open worlds can deliver mind-blowing experiences. But not everyone knows how to get it right. The problem lies with those Ubisoft-style open worlds where the focus is on making massive maps stuffed with repetitive tasks, but no real purpose or innovation. It's all about going from point A to point B, collecting an item, killing an enemy, and doing it all over again. Instead of feeling like the hero of an epic journey, you end up feeling like an unpaid intern. Take Star Wars Outlaws, for example, another Ubisoft creation. Sure, it's visually stunning and packed with Star Wars lore, but the gameplay? It feels like just another cookie-cutter open-world game. Nothing about it stands out from the rest of the pack. Then there's Rise of the Ronin, which was hyped as a Ghost of Tsushima 2.0, but when it dropped, it revealed itself to be just another generic open-world game with recycled mission types and a lack of creativity. The initial excitement vanished within weeks. The market is so oversaturated with open-world games that the term open world is no longer a selling point by itself. These days, an open-world game needs to deliver something revolutionary, like Breath of the Wild's physics systems or the insane immersion of Red Dead 2. Without that, players just won't care. If there's one game that might change the game, though, it's GTA 6 slated for 2025. From what we've seen in the trailers, it looks poised to take the genre to an entirely new level, with mechanics, graphics, and storytelling that truly justify the open-world format. Until then, the generic formula needs to take a breather. Roguelikes. Roguelikes started as a creative solution in the indie market, and there's no denying the genre has delivered masterpieces like Hades, The Binding of Isaac, Dead Cells, and Risk of Rain. The concept of procedurally generated maps where every run feels unique, combined with resettable progress, created an addictive gameplay loop, but as with anything that finds success, it has been milked to death. One reason for the roguelike boom is that it's relatively cheap and efficient for indie developers to produce. Instead of designing maps and challenges manually, procedural generation cuts down on creative effort, allowing devs to focus on core mechanics. Plus, the appeal of endlessness makes players feel like they're getting more content than what's actually there. And here's where the problem kicks in. A lot of games now use the roguelike model as an excuse to stretch gameplay without offering any real innovation or quality. There's a flood of indie titles out there recycling the same formula of random maps and start-from-scratch characters with no meaningful twists. Even the most dedicated fans of the genre are starting to feel the fatigue. On the flip side, the best roguelikes know how to flip expectations on their heads. Take Hades, for example. It brings a deep narrative to the table, where every death pushes the story forward and lets you uncover more about the characters. Then there's Dead Cells, which combines fast, fluid combat with stunning aesthetics and permanent upgrades that let players feel like they're progressing even when they fail. If the current pace continues, roguelikes risk becoming a played-out genre, remembered more for the classics that defined it than for any fresh, standout releases. Souls-likes. The Souls-like genre, birthed by Demon's Souls and catapulted into fame with Dark Souls, has become a hallmark for hardcore gamers. It introduced a distinct style of gameplay, punishing difficulty, methodical combat, and slow but deeply rewarding progression. But what once felt like a niche, unique genre has now become oversaturated with countless games trying to replicate the formula. The key issue with Souls-likes is the high bar set by their fanbase. Players who have experienced the pinnacle of the genre with Dark Souls, Bloodborne, or Elden Ring are used to a certain level of quality. When other studios attempt to emulate the challenge and atmosphere but fail in execution, the results are often underwhelming. For instance, titles like Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn promised to be the next big Souls-like experience, but fell into mediocrity due to unpolished mechanics or lack of depth. Another problem is the trend of non-Souls-like games borrowing elements from the genre in an attempt to cash in on its success. Take Black Myth: Wukong, for example. While it blends hack-and-slash mechanics with Souls-like features, such as respawning enemies and intricate boss fights, it leaves players questioning whether it's a true Souls-like or merely a hybrid trying to tap into the genre's popularity. Yet there are bright spots in this sea of imitation. Lies of P shows that innovation is still possible. Drawing inspiration from the story of Pinocchio, it combines classic Souls-like mechanics with a rich narrative and a visually stunning world. Titles like this demonstrate that the Souls-like genre isn't dead, but requires creativity and effort to stand out. The problem is, many developers focus on the surface-level aspects of Souls-likes, extreme difficulty and slow, punishing combat, while neglecting the deeper elements that make these games special immersive worlds, intricate lore, and engaging narratives. This leads to genre fatigue, even among dedicated fans, who begin to see these games as repetitive rather than innovative. Another challenge is how divisive Souls-likes can be. For newcomers, the steep difficulty is often a deal-breaker. Even fans of the genre may skip titles that feel like rehashed versions of better games. Adding to the issue, the sheer number of Souls-like inspired titles in development is overwhelming. If you tallied them up, you'd easily find 30 to 40 projects all trying to ride the wave. This glut dilutes the genre's impact, making it harder to distinguish gems from uninspired cash grabs. To prevent Souls-likes from becoming a stale genre, developers need to focus on innovation rather than imitation. As Elden Ring proved, there's still room for growth within the formula, but that requires pushing boundaries and adding fresh ideas rather than simply following following the From Software playbook. The takeaway is simple. If a game isn't bringing something new to the table, maybe it's better to look for another genre to explore. So do you agree with what I said, or do you think I got a little too emotional with my opinions? Drop a comment down below. I'll definitely read and reply. But before that, I gotta ask for your help. To keep this work going here on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel to give us that extra boost so we can keep making more gaming content for you. It's quick, free, and you have no idea how much it motivates us to keep working for you. Thanks a lot for your help, and see you later, alligator.